what? Right. Right for the condition of a vacuum leak, right? See, you agree with me. So he replaced the oxygen sensors because it was commanding a wrong. And I didn't know this guy from Adam, and he wasn't very friendly, and he never bought me lunch. So whatever. I didn't know this guy that good. But and he must have been good because they brought him all the way from Kansas. Whatever, right? So he decided the PCM was not commanding the correct injector pulse width, in his words on his worksheet, and he replaced a dead and a slow oxygen sensor. Can we identify dead oxygen sensors easily? Yeah, they don't move, they hang. How do you diagnose slow ones? Cross counts. Cross counts are a binary digital counter. Cross counts are a binary digital counter. If you had, I'll do this one because the math is easy. If you had cross counts in the scan data, diagnostic test mode 1, and you had an 8-bit computer. Now, I know 8-bit computers are old, but I got to do the math in my head. My wife claims I'm a Rain Man without the math skills. Eight and 8 is what? 16, 32, 64, 128, 255, right? So if you had an 8-bit controller, the highest cross count number, highest number in any PID you would see is 256. I know I said 255, then I said 256, but computers start counting at 0. 0 is a digit. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 255, 256. Cross counts is a digital binary counter. It starts at 0. If you could look at the raw data of cross counts, it would count 1. Well, no, it would count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 256, boom. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So when you see cross counts on a diagnostic test mode 1 scan data, you don't know where they are in the stair. You have no basis to say, if you look down and you see 100, 1,000, 1, 6, 9, you have no basis to establish what's at 9 of. Is it 9 from the beginning, 9 from 10, which makes it 1, right? 9, right? So, I mean, we don't, cross counts aren't what we think they are. They're digital binary counters. If you have a diagnostic test procedure that you use cross count, it works for you, good. Keep using it. If it's ever screwed you up, stop using it. Right, Rich? All right? So they didn't match. You know, they did not match. He had a lean condition. It was a dead and a slow oxygen sensor. So he's claiming they did not match. He had to replace both oxygen sensors. You know, how can oxygen sensors cause the injector pulse width to be wrong? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up. Anybody?
It's the feedback the computer's using to confirm its original, all the data that it's got to create the mixture, you know, create the pulse width that's correct to start with. It looks basically at the sensors, it looks at the lookup table, says this is what my pulse width is, then it uses the oxygen sensor signal to say, was that right? Am I too rich? Am I too lean?
What he said. What he said. What he said. He could have stopped on the first word. Bernie Jr. over there. Ken's coming next month, but Bernie's a month after, so you tell him how I picked on him. Right? Feedback. Feedback. Computer goes, hell, dude, squirt spark. Then he says, how'd I do with oxygen sensor? You're a little bit lean. Well, bigger squirt? I'm going to change the spark? How'd I do? Still a little lean. Bigger squirt, more spark. Anything that affects fuel affects timing, period. Can't change them. That's a physical thing. And so then the oxygen says, you missed it again, but you went too rich, right? Isn't that the way it works? So we know that they're man and wife, and the oxygen sensor is the wife because the computer can never please it. And that's the way fuel control works. That's the way fuel control works. Now that's in one small feedback part of the formula. That is a modifier. And that's what the word I was looking for. It gives us feedback so it can modify the injector pulse width. That's what I was looking for. And that's, he said it. Just he's from Mars or somewhere. Good fuel control is when? How do we know we got good fuel control? All right, but good fuel control is when long-term and short-term are normal. And we established normal as my normal is plus or minus 5. I think yours was plus or minus 10. Nobody agreed over 10. So I think we're in some type of agreement here. Mark that down. May never happen again. But it's not when the oxygen sensors are within normal working parameters. And thank you for nobody saying the oxygen sensors are working normally. That doesn't mean we're in good fuel control, all right? So when does the fuel control, so you're driving along a car, and this car is absolutely perfect. Okay, so that's not a Ford or a GM or a Chrysler. I don't know what that is. This is a smart car. So you're driving along. Can I tell them the story? Last time I was coming here, I was coming to New Jersey. That's kind of stupid. Last time I was coming here, I was going to New Jersey. I am in New Jersey. But I was going to where Rutgers is, Brunswick. So I'm going down there, and I'm coming somewhere, and I'm always the second fastest guy on a you know, I'm going to let somebody run in front of me, and when my fuzzbuster goes off, I'm going to act innocent. So we're going like hell. We're doing 85 miles an hour, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not lying. This is an honest God's truth. A smart car passed us. It has no technical value, but it was just so shocking to find that out. So when does a long-term stop correcting? When does short-term stop correct? The system stops correcting when the oxygen sensor returns to normal. Good fuel control is dependent upon good working oxygen sensors. There's 3 methods to test oxygen sensors. Probably the best is diagnostic test mode 6. Whether you agree or not. And then the second would be a digital storage scope, because we all got real quiet when I said, how do you check the speed of an oxygen sensor? So the only way you're going to do that is with one of these. The only way. You can't do it with a scan tool. And then the third is probably a scan tool. You know, the other is to touch it if it's really hot. So all the oxygen sensors are going to be tested. I'm in the domestic world. You know that by now. You came here knowing I don't do foreign cars. So we're going to look at this waveform here. And we can do that with a lab scope. We can do it with a scan tool. Trust me, the computer can do it a lot better. If we do it with a scan tool, this is an AE Auto Ingenuity scan tool. And is that a good signal or a bad signal? If you have an Auto Ingenuity, you might be able to offer an opinion. If you don't have an Auto Ingenuity, then you should not offer opinion whether that's good or bad. Because scan data is buffered, dampened, written to screen, right? So it's all, anybody got a Genesis? Anybody got a Genesis? Anybody got a Genesis? Give me a Genesis, give me one Genesis. You ever look at oxygen sensor? You ever graphed oxygen sensor voltage on a Genesis? Did you ever do it twice? No, it sucks, right? Pretty much sucks. Who's got a Modus? Give me a Modus. We got a Modus over here? Same thing? Yeah. Just sucks. The scan tool is not grafting not giving me a usable, diagnostable graft. All right? This is a good working oxygen sensor on a normal car. And when you look at it, you know, if this was a lab scope, I go, oh man, this is good. A little funky. This is good. Oh, that's bad. This is good. Oh, that's not so good. Oh, that's horrible. So you can't use a scan tool like you use a DSO. But I happen to have been using AE for a long, long time. I was using it when it was an AC. That was an alphabet joke. C comes before E. Nah, it doesn't go over in low educated areas. Oh, did he whack me? I can't believe he did that. He said, what? So yeah, but you got to practice and learn, and then there's no reason to practice and learn on a Modus or a Genus. It just isn't going to be there. All right, now here's a lab scope. Good or bad? Give me your opinion quickly, please. Good? Okay, this is a democratic state. Good? Give me good. Give me good. Everybody give me good. Raise your hand if you're going to think it's good. How many people think it's okay? Give me an okay. Give me an okay. How many people think there's something wrong with it? I like the fact that people are questioning the waveform. That's what we're supposed to do. That's why we went to the trouble to get it. Right?
A little hairy.
It's okay. Yeah, I will guarantee that hairiness is involved in something with the ground. If you really want to see all this hair, this noise, electrical noise all over, start switching your ground. Start at the battery ground, and then it gets all El Funko. I know, I'm bilingual. And then what happens is when you start getting a cleaner and cleaner ground on your digital storage scope, you're going to clean up your noise. So you want to ground it where? As close to your oxygen sensor signal as you can. When you're going to use a digital storage scope, you want to connect the storage scope's ground to as close to the oxygen sensor as you can, assuming I don't have to bend over or burn myself. So apparently I had to bend over or burn myself to get a really clean signal. All right? But I'm not bothered with the noise. I'm bothered with the fact I don't see 0.8 at least. I'm bothered. Okay, we'll talk about 9. I'm bothered that I don't see 0.2 or below. When I see a normal working oxygen sensor, if it's between 0.2 and 0.8, I'm a happy camper with this thing. I know there's probably very little wrong with this car. Is there any car that's perfect? Okay, so that's why the disclaimer, very little wrong. Now, in this oxygen sensor, if you had this on your car, the bay tomorrow, you got it on a bay tomorrow, in your bay tomorrow, what would you do? You know what you do. Say it. You'd tweak the throttle. You'd rev it up a little bit. Some of us would go, we'd hit rev limiter. We'd hit rev limiter in a service bay. Because apparently we wanted this computer to go into a default. When you hit rev limiter for about 3 minutes afterward, the computer is not in normal working mode. It's in some type of default. Yeah, you just screwed the pooch. Just screwed the pooch. Don't be hitting rev limiter unless you absolutely want to test rev limiter. So if I play with the throttle, I want to see 0.9 or above. And then I go and let it close. I want to see 0.1 or below. If I can't do that, then I got to puff in some propane to see if it'll go to 0.9 or above. I got to create a vacuum. The oxygen sensor, at the minimum, has to read 900 millivolts. At the minimum, has to go lean on a 100 millivolt side. Has to. All right? Now, yeah, we know they go from 0 to 1, and that's all theoretical fine stuff. But diagnostically, we don't care. This is an oxygen sensor that's made with zirconia dioxide. This oxygen sensor here has no input into the computer, no feedback to the computer at over, what, 14.2 to 1? Under at 11.3 to 1? That's why they call it a narrow band oxygen sensor. So the fact that it'll go to 9, that's good enough. The fact that it'll go to 1 means, okay, it went to 1. Then you can do this. Went to 1. It's a narrow band oxygen sensor. We didn't know how bad they were until somebody came out with a wideband and taught us about that, right? And that's why they don't even call them narrow band. They're embarrassed. So here, diagnostic test mode 5 will tell me a lot of things. Sometimes it's in 6, most of the time it's in 6. Timed activity, that's the heater, you know that. Ratio of maximum switching times. Now, how many times did you want to know that? Oh, okay, what is it? Holy crap, mode 6